holding on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From Austin, Texas, the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series is about to start making right turns and changing elevation at Circuit of the Americas. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the live music capital of the world, where we're gathered for the first of a pair of races here in the Lone Star State for the 2024 season. And tonight, when the green flag drops, these drivers will drown out any live music in this town. Mike McConville brought the checkered flag home to New Jersey 2 weeks ago at Phoenix, launching himself on a 19-spot upward trajectory. Now we see if he can be a road course whisperer here at COTA and go back-to-back. I'm Dave Regal here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth, and as always, I'm thrilled to be with you every step of the way. From the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, glad to have you in tonight as qualifying is fairly well underway, about 3.5 minutes in. Normally we would see qualifying wrapping up after that short period of time. But of course, here we are on a road course. Mike Wright only halfway through his initial qualifying lap. It looks like he just kind of had himself a slowdown here. Mike Wright in his Pennzoil Ford Mustang. In fact, we're going to back out here and just see if we can't get some of those things fixed up here. As, of course, these drivers, all season long have been working their tails off. We want to make sure that we highlight each and every one of them properly. As we see Bryson Alexander here in the 46 Chevrolet Camaro, we'll be updating those paints as they come here. Michael Witt in the 88, a rough night last night in the Cup Series, looks to do it again here. John Bawalda, the Chief Cook and Bottle Watt. Look at this guy right here. John Bawalda, or John Dillinger as he's affectionately known, out here on the road course in the number 51 Chevrolet Camaro. Of course, he is the chief cook and bottle washer over at Jack Dow Motorsports and personal friend of mine. As he gets, I'll tell you what, that white paint scheme looking fresh tonight. We're going to be seeing a lot of action here on the racetrack, from start to finish. If last night's Cup Series show was anything of an indicator, this is going to be the one. Anthony Savignano also here in the BWT number 50 Toyota Supra. Of course, this league, at this level, it's the Toyota Supra, not the Camry. Toyota's the only manufacturer that keeps it fresh among the three series, as 5 minutes and 50 seconds have already ticked off the qualifying timer. Brandon Minto out of Norman, Oklahoma. Uncle Scott always watching in the YouTube.com live chat. He's out here getting her done. So glad to see some of these faces in here. Brandon Minto on his opening lap laid down a 2-minute 16.25 second lap, looking to improve upon it now in the Okie, maybe the Okie Finokie, if you will, Ford Mustang. Of course, I do vaguely recall Mike Wright saying that this is opening week for baseball season and we should see some baseball-themed paint schemes, but I don't see any yet tonight. I do have to agree, and check this paint scheme out. Speaking of cool stuff, that is the Cinnamon Toast Crunch machine, driven by Daniel Moynihan, last driven in this league by the great Bob Nestor, the 2021 Truck Series champion. He also had it on a Ford at that time. And I'll tell you what, there's nothing like being back there and just having those googly Cinnamon Toast Crunch eyes staring back at you. That's kind of weird, as Moynihan goes 7th fastest on the timing tower. Anthony Savignano hops out of the car while Trent Curtis finishes in 4th place. Mike Wright wrapping up a P2 finish here. Eugenio Alonso making his return tonight to our ranks. He has already gone to the pole position. Zach Osborne wrapping it up in the 1110 Mods Toyota Supra. Alex Brinson from Lake Elmo, Minnesota, right now in 10th position on the timing line with a 2:19.39. So 4 seconds off the pace set by Eugenio Alonso. Chris Claude almost 10 seconds off the pace on his qualifying lap. Looks like he laid down a 2-minute 23.11. Tony Burt, so it looks like, wow, the A Lot Cleaner number 4 looking fantastic. Tony Burt making his return to the ranks tonight as well. In fact, we're going to see if we can get a hold of John Bawalda here. Because I'll tell you what, I never want to miss an opportunity to talk to the chief cook and bottle washer over at Jack Dow Motorsports. Hey, John, it's Dave. You got me? Hey, John, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me? Well, I guess I didn't want to miss the opportunity to talk to John, but he missed the opportunity to talk with me. We'll send him back on up there. He must have stepped away for a hot minute. And, of course, that was the minute that I decided to grab him. We're going to get Eugenio down here. Hey, Eugenio, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me? I'm starting to wonder maybe it's me. Hey, Eugenio, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hey Dave, what's up, man?
Hey, man, you're what's up? You're sitting on the top of the timing line. How are things?
I'm really happy with this lap.
You better be.
The quali set was really fast.
I'll say, so you should absolutely be thrilled. I mean, you've gapped the field, by over almost a second in some cases here. What's going to be your secret sauce tonight to get through this race?
We work hard in this week with Sean Buwalda in the set, and set feel really, really good tonight. I hope set work great in race 2.
So what you're saying is that Jackdown Motorsports is going to have a strong showing tonight.
I hope that.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, congratulations on...
I only tried to survive in turn 1.
You and everybody else. Just drop the hammer and run.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Okay,
listen, it was
man.
good to talk to you.
See you.
That is the voice of Eugenio Alonso, driver of the number 26 Jackdown Motorsports machine. Now we're going to try to get a hold of John Dillinger, the affectionately known John Dillinger. Hey, John, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
I'm here. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man, listen, look at you back behind the wheel tonight. How are things feeling? I mean, Eugenio just gave you a tip of the cap to the setup tonight. What are you thinking?
Well, I've been practicing for this setup. I think we've talked last time we were at COTA about the dreaded turn 1, how it, gives me nightmares and stuff. So I made sure I put a lot of practice in on the off season. Road course racing is my favorite in these stock cars. So I'm not the best driver in the world, but I spent a lot of time building a setup and then, getting the verified by that it is a good setup. We got a car on the pole tonight with some help from Nitro as well. So we got a good setup, and I'm hoping for, Eugenio and I to get a couple top 5s. That's the goal.
Yeah, I mean, it's always exciting when I get to see, old friends get out here onto the racetrack, and knowing that you decided to play the mad scientist this week, we'll be paying attention to all of your cars in the Jackdown Motorsports stable. I mean, this is one of those racetracks that can be a wild card, kind of like a super speedway where, you have that one person that can be a road course whisperer, and all of a sudden they punch their ticket to the playoffs.
Yeah, and I don't know if we got some pretty stiff competition on the track tonight for trying to punt for myself to be able to try and punch a ticket. But what I'm trying to do is just I won't be trying to flip the stages or anything. I'm gonna try and stay out and get as many stage points as I can. Try and close the gap. I missed a couple races due to not qualifying in, and so I got some work to do. It's gonna be a bit of an uphill battle this season. So usually road course races and we don't have as much of an attendance, but we've got a pretty stacked field, full field if I'm not mistaken, 38 cars. So that's unlike that is definitely unlike us for the league. So I'm hoping just a clean race, a clean, solid race, stage points, top 10, top 5s, and then, like I said, just close that gap a bit.
Good stuff, man. All right, well, listen, congrats on getting, a pole position driver tonight. Of course, you're going to roll off in 7th. Looks like, you guys are going to have to lead it there for Jackdown Motorsports. So congrats, brother, and we'll chat with you later.
All right, man. Have a good night. Thank you.
All right. Going to move John back up into the Jackdown Motorsports chat room there. And last but certainly not least, the one person that I always look forward to talking to, no matter where he is and what he's doing, Mr. Matt Metler, of course, my sidekick on a Sunday night. Hey, Matt, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Loud and clear, brother. What's going on, man?
Nothing. Listen, I'm looking for you here on the old timing line, and I'm not really having a whole lot of luck finding you.
Oh, that's because I'm trying to be under the radar right now.
I mean, look.
So, anyways, long story short, I took me 3.5 hours to make a 30-minute drive. I had some car trouble on the way home. So I'm trying to get my hands wrapped around this place. I only had a little bit of practice earlier in the day, so I'm just trying to stay out of everyone's way and not put up an embarrassing time for you to talk about yet.
Listen, I'm always ready for embarrassment. Don't you worry.
We thrive off of it.
Yeah, I pretty much run on it. Between that, nicotine, and caffeine, I'm ready to go. Listen,
Speaking
bro,
of go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of caffeine, I'll definitely take a Red Bull if you got one over there for me.
I got a Mountain Dew Baja Blast Zero.
That'll work.
My man. It's all about sugar-free because, of course, as you know, I'm such a health nut.
You got to start somewhere.
Right.
And
baby
if
steps.
that's where
Extreme baby steps.
Exactly. And if sugar-free's, where it starts for you, then, hey, that's a step in the right direction.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, listen, I'm going to send you on back up in your race chat. Good luck tonight, and we will chat with you later.
All right, brother. Have a great call up there, and looking forward to next Sunday night, man.
All right, bro. Of course, that is the voice of the great Matt Mettler, my sidekick on a Sunday night here as we get ready to look at the qualifying lineup. Eugenio Alonso, Mike Wright going to sit on the front row, Brandon Minto. I see some other big names, Claude Ferland and Ethan Ball, Ron Fitting, Aaron Mack. Have to excuse me, folks. Sometimes dinner not always trying to agree with me. As we get ready to rock and roll here, we'll get that logo out of the way. We'll get everything else ready to run here as Mike Wright is going to sit on the front row with Eugenio Alonso. And as we float high above the blimp here, we're waiting for Eugenio to hop in the old car. Looks like Eugenio Tony Burt. There he is. Eugenio Alonso going to be your pole sitter this evening. He'll be joined in the front row by Mike Wright. Brandon Minto going to be on the inside of row number 2 with Trent Curtis on the outside. Tane Hodison and Anthony Savignano out of Erie, Colorado, going to be in row number 3, while row 4 going to feature John Bawalda out of Bel Air, Maryland, and Daniel Moynihan from Boston. Zach Osborne and Sylvain Jolie going to round out your starting top 10, while Michael Witt in the 88 from Bristol, Tennessee, is going to sit alongside Alex Princeton in row number 6. Row 7 going to feature Ethan Ball and Claude Ferland, while Ron Fitting and Aaron Mack going to be in row number 8. Zachary Vaughn and Dan Morgan in row 9, while Chris Claude and Chris Custer, a pair of Chris's for the ages, going to be in row number 10. Bryson Alexander and Brad Gunn in row number 11, while Nick Hansen and Mike Bratchick in row 12. Keith Black and my good friend Tony Burt out of Hedgesville, West Virginia, going to be in row number 13, while Rich Jett and Ethan Eckert in row 14. Mike McConville, our winner 2 weeks ago at Phoenix, and now Ethan Eckert shuffled backwards as he's going to be alongside John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania in row number 15. Alexander Gangler in the 8 car from Big Rock, Illinois, going to be alongside of Sam Bolin in row 16, while Steve Herring and Randall Watkins are going to be in 17. Row 18, starting shotgun on the field, is going to be Richard Pruitt and Matt Mettler out of the Sunshine State, as he's got the Auto Part 64 machine starting shotgun. Somebody had to do it, and unfortunately, it's my good friend Corey Burkett going to be starting from the pits tonight. So it's going to be 46 laps, the scheduled distance. Stage 1 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 14. Stage 2 at the end of lap number 13. At the end of lap number 30. That's almost impossible to go backwards in time like that. As the iRacing.com pace car peels on pit road, the only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, turn up the volume for that live music and settle in. Race fans, it's show time! Eugenio Alonso with a good jump. Something wrong there. There it is. Eugenio Alonso with a good jump here. Already 0.6 of a second over Mike Wright. Brandon Minto running just behind his teammate Mike Wright in third position. So far, so good here on the initial start. Whoa, Trent Curtis getting a little loose as we head down toward turn number 10. This is kind of what Mettler and I last night were calling the safety pin. It's not a hairpin, but it's a safety pin. It's not a complete bend in the road, if you will. Brandon Minto starting to gap Trent Curtis as it looks like Mike McConville and Richard Pruitt have had some bad luck toward the rear of the pack. Way back here in 24th, we see McConville in the one machine. This may not end well for him as they come into the safety pin, and this is really where you see everybody just checking up, and it's not an ideal thing to do, to go from a beautiful straightaway to just having to really dig into the binders there. As we take a look once again at Trent Curtis, he's, whoa, just behind. 3 wide coming out of that turn and down toward the carousel. Something we don't generally see. As we're still here on lap number 1, lap 1 seems to be taking quite a while, as looks like my buddy Matt Mettler may or may not have had a bad day here. Nope, we're going to watch him go right in here to the safety pin. Mettler's going to be way up here in 4th gear and... whoa! Hey! Racetrack this way, sir. Just for fun, because I know it's going to bug the heck out of him, we're going to go ahead and run that back one more time. And we're going to watch what happens with Matt here as we run down the backstretch. You know, we're here on the gyro cam, nice and comfy, up in 4th gear. And then you can't get it wound up enough. And he handled it very well, kept it moving forward, and tried to be as graceful as he could, but really he was more like graceful like a circus bear getting in there. As Brandon Minto gets credit for leading for a little while here as we pull those standings up on the left side of your screen. As he's currently gapping Tane Hodison now by more than a second. Something must have happened here. We see Corey Burkett going off track. A lot of these races at road courses wind up being replay festivals because, you know, so many different things are happening in so many different sectors of the racetrack. As I'm looking to see if I can find, it looks like Hodison and Minto were going at it for a little bit. Now there's Hodison in the 93. Oh, he disappeared. So not sure what happened with Hodison in that particular situation. Then Trent Curtis passes Minto for P2. Minto in the 12. And I don't even... there's the 13 and the 93. Minto must have been having a connection problem because he's the only car that I don't see that's supposed to be involved in this. What a mess we have here, as it's even kicked off my microphone. So whatever connection issues Brandon Minto is having, it may be something that's server-wide. I've been yammering here for the last little bit as we've gone from replay to replay, and nobody even noticed. Wow, Tony Burt once again holding it together. So let's get on up here and bring everybody back up to speed. Eugenio Alonso, our race leader, he's followed by Mike Wright and Brandon Minto. Minto was originally being scored up in the lead. It turns out that he's not now. All kinds of mess here. It looks like Mike Wright. It looks like we must have been having quite a battle here for the lead, unless this was part of the timing and scoring error that we've caught now. Eugenio Alonso, your race leader here in his number 26 Chevrolet Camaro. As we mentioned earlier, you know, Toyota changes whatever body start. Chris Claude and Chris Custer, the pair of Chris's, started together tonight. Looks like they were running here down the backstretch, the 66 and the 10. We see Custer maybe playing with his braking distance a little bit too much, and Chris Claude, meanwhile, gets through there, almost using Chris Custer like a guinea pig, like, hey, you check this out and I'll get on through there. Eugenio Alonso, still your race leader. It just laid down the fastest lap of the race, gapped Mike Wright by a half second, as he's got about 1.5 seconds between himself and Mike Wright. Closest battle right now in the top 10 belongs to Tane Hodison and Trent Curtis. And ordinarily we would say, oh, geez, that's way too much room. But on a road course, anything less than a second or, even less than 3/4 of a second is pretty close, and it keeps things interesting because you don't want to just be out here, hum-de-dum-dum-dum, no problem, I'm just passing time by. Going to try to move where that microphone button is and see if we can't get that fixed. Maybe that's some of the problem. I've been mashing that button now for the last 3 years, and maybe it's just tired of me beating on it. Keeping an eye right here on Eugenio Alonso in the number 26. He's now starting to get Mike Wright by about 2 seconds, and in fact, right now, closest battle once again on the racetrack. Daniel Moynihan and Zach Osborne, as well as Tane Hodison and Trent Curtis, both of them sub 1 second here on Circuit of the Americas, working lap number 4 of 46 tonight, as Eugenio Alonso has suddenly become the Pied Piper of Austin, Texas. Taking a look right here at Alex Princeton trailing John Bawal, the chief cook and bottle washer over at Jackdown Motorsports. Things starting to heat up here with Sylvain Joly, our neighbor from the north out of Saint-Eustache in Quebec. As right now he's got that 08 Ford Mustang all kinds of cranked up. He's trying to battle it out with Bawalda, this is Chevy on Ford crime here. And right now it's going to go Toyota Supra, Ford Mustang, and Chevrolet Camaro. Going to be 7, 8, and 9. Alex Princeton rounding out your top 10 for the time being, working lap number 5. On our way toward lap 14 here as the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series proudly broadcast right here on Sim Racing Media. Dave Regal in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth with you as always. Thank you for making us a part of your evening as we take a look here at Michael Witt in the 88. Michael Witt right now just about 1/4 of a second, now 2/10 of a second behind Daniel Moynihan. Taking a look right now at Alex Princeton here as we look high from above in the blimp cam. He's currently being chased down by Daniel Moynihan. Moynihan in the Cinnamon Toast Crunch Ford Mustang as we see Zach Osborne popping up on timing and scoring. We'll see what happened here. As Zach Osborne in the number 16 Toyota Supra comes down. Oh, we know what's about to happen here. Calamity Corner ready to bite him right in the face. As there it is, woof. As he just took that safety pin right through the fabric around the corner. So unfortunately for Zach Osborne, that's going to slow him down a little bit. Definitely struggling a little bit here as now it looks, if we check our replay timer again, Aaron Mack, who of course has had a lot of success here in this league, takes the 31 up the hill, and we're going to see, as we've seen so many times, drivers completely overshoot this because you come down that front stretch, you forget about all the weight transfer in these cars, that suspension, not able to handle that, and next thing you know, boom goes the proverbial dynamite. Zachary Vaughn setting up to make the pass on Aaron Mack. He shoots right past him in this battle. Wow. All of a sudden for 16th, now he manages to get Aaron Mack just behind him and puts Mike McConville in the crosshairs as we ride along here from the hood of Zachary Vaughn. He's got McConville in his sights, but right now McConville has a handful of Chevrolet right now trying to work his way through the carousel section here. Looking back right now at Zachary Vaughn and Aaron Mack, this is a period, at least in McConville's race, where you've got to start driving a little bit defensively. Don't overdrive your car. Don't try to stress yourself out because all you're going to do is make a mistake. Chris Custer has already done that, and it looks like Ethan Eckert cashing in on the old mistake clause. As we take a look at Ethan Eckert, the young man here in the 11 out of Chicago, Illinois, fishtailing down the front down that mid stretch here. He just could not bring it back under control. Then has a little bit of a connection issue. It just seems to be kind of a rough run here in the middle of the racetrack for Ethan Eckert out of Chicago. Lap number 7, halfway through stage 1 here at Circuit of the Americas. And we are going to step aside here and pay some bills on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal. This is Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler, or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh,
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, where Eugenio Alonso is now beginning to gap Mike Wright by 3.75 seconds here working lap number 10 of 46. Eugenio Alonso out of Buenos Aires in the number 26 Chevrolet Camaro, just ahead of Mike Wright in the in the discount tire number 98, and his teammate Brandon Minto kind of keeping similar pace here, just behind Wright in the number 12 Oki Ford Mustang. So first Toyota in the field tonight. In line right now, Anthony Savignano in the number 50 BWT Toyota Supra, followed by Zach Osborne in the number 16 1110 Mods Toyota Supra. So, definitely an interesting race field mixed up here in the top. We take a look deeper into the field and see some of these battles heating up as Aaron Mack trying to battle it out now with Richard Pruitt in the 24. Mack starting to look here to the right side now of Pruitt, the outside of that turn. They battle their way through here, and Pruitt now starting to get the run on Mack to build some distance between the two of them. Zachary Vaughn, meanwhile, just ahead of Claude Ferlin in the number 43 Accent LED Ford Mustang. Of course, Claude Ferlin from St. Jude, one of our neighbors from the north. As we've got the Canadian contingent in town tonight. Looks like Tony Burt running right now in 31st. Ron Fitting just came in for pit service, so obviously he's trying to get to the end of stage 1 and try to get some better track position for the for that stage 2 run. And what's going to make that interesting is we've got 14 laps here in stage 1. This is the first, the truly longest stage in the race, because we'll get all 14 laps under our belts. Then because of, the caution that'll come out, so on and so forth, we won't get that total of 16, for stage 2, and then the same for 3, as we'll go from 30 to then 46. We're seeing Dan Morgan here heading down toward that back straightaway. And all of a sudden, he's got to get on the binder so hard. Audio problems across the board tonight. We're going to find out how to straighten that out. Not sure what's causing some of these issues. Try to create 2 of those. As Dan Morgan, we were just looking here at the weight transfer of Dan Morgan, as he really has to nose it in there, and he's actually looking very comfortable tonight. Trent Curtis coming down pit road in the 13 car here on lap number 12. He's going to get those 4 tires. Now, one of the things that we noticed in the Cup Series was that tires were not as big of a factor. Many drivers just coming in for fuel only, because the tires actually did better the deeper into the race that we got. Now here working lap 12 of 46, about a third of the way through. About a quarter of the way through. Not bad so far tire wear wise. We see Corey Burkett showing up as having crashed. Let's see what happened to him. As we look at the 07 here Corey Burka coming down into the safety pin once again. You know, it's so easy to get your car, you know, lit up, you know, going down that straightaway. And sometimes it's almost disarming when all of a sudden you wind up like, oh, geez, there's a turn up here. You know, you get yourself nice and relaxed, maybe let the elbows down a little bit. Next thing you know, you've got to be, you know, elbows up and wheeling that car through the safety pin turn. Witt, Bawalda, and Princeton right now, all in the line, 9, 10, and 11. Bawalda holding on to that 10th spot for dear life, trying to hold off Alex Princeton in the closing few laps here of stage number 1. We're working our way toward lap number 14, as Eugenio Alonso has been dominant from the moment that the green flag flew tonight. He's got Mike Wright in the rearview mirror, Brandon Minto just behind him, as right now the Okie native number 12 Ford Mustang is all kinds of cranked up. Of course, Uncle Scott usually watching us in the youtube.com live chat. Sky Blue Studios Tutorial says, can't wait to try Queen. Of course, a proud sponsor here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Orlando Lion Fan Club saying, woo cars. Not too many other viewers there in the youtube.com live chat. Make sure to subscribe. Turn on those bell notifications. Let us know who you're pulling for. As speaking of pulling for it, John Bawalda not going to be finishing stage 1 very simply here as we look at where Alex Princeton is, harassing him right now. We're going to ride along from the nose of Princeton. Princeton getting into the 1 car, into the 4 car. That was Tony Burt just getting shoved out of the way. I don't want to say that that was intentional, but my goodness, Princeton just kind of took a face full of Tony Burt and spun him right out of the way. Wow. Wow. I don't even know where to go with that one. As we're going to look one more time here from the gearbox, we see Princeton here, and Princeton just shoves him out of the way. My goodness. Trying to find where Princeton is in timing and scoring for that replay, because I feel like we need to ride along with him for this one, as we just were. We see Princeton coming downhill, and Princeton did get off the throttle, but maybe not necessarily on the brake as he drove into the rear end of Tony Burt. So hopefully apologies were exchanged, or at least somebody notified the police to put a report in for that one. As Eugenio Alonso here at the conclusion of lap number 14 comes back to the front stretch, crosses the start-finish line. He will capture the green and white checkered flag here. He'll be followed by Mike Wright, Brandon Minto, Tane Hodison, Anthony Savignano, Zach Osborne, Daniel Moynihan, Sylvain Joly, John Bawalda, and Michael Witt, as Witt comes out of that rear carousel and back onto the front stretch here in the final turn. As there is that final turn, we're waiting for Witt to cross the start-finish line. And when he does, that will be the official end of stage number 1. We may be not throwing that caution flag tonight at the end of stage 1 as we did last night in the Cup Series. Good to know. As Eugenio Alonso continues his campaign here, you might as well drive it till the wheels fall off, that's for sure. As Eugenio in the admin box, Jack Dow Motorsports number 26 Nitro Chevrolet Camaro is now gapping Mike Wright by about 0.7 of a second. They're getting closer and closer. Mike Wright kind of just trying to keep him at arm's length. That way, if Eugenio makes a mistake or as that car starts to fall off deeper into the run, he can consider making the move. But Mike Wright is a very patient driver. This is one of the drivers that we love to follow all year long here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Greensboro, North Carolina's very own, driving the Discount Tire number 98 Ford Mustang. You know, Mike is a patient guy. He will wait. Oh, here may be an opportunity for him to close some of that gap as he now comes within 3/4 of a second. He's going to get back on the throttle here, chasing Eugenio down. He has a really good chance here as long as he doesn't let that throttle foot get too itchy. Mike Wright kind of like a cat with a mouse trying just to play with it here as we take a look at our race conditions. 73 degrees in the stands, 85 degrees on the asphalt, so plenty of grip down there as we turn the battle box on for the first time tonight. You can see Mike Wright starting to close that gap ever so gently as all of a sudden Eugenio Alonso just ran far, far away from him. Hopefully timing and scoring fixes itself, because that's definitely not 3.5 seconds, that's for sure. Zachary Vaughn here being challenged by Claude Ferlin. Ferlin, there's the caution. I'm not sure what on earth we were looking for. Unless timing and scoring is off. Nope. The conclusion of 14, the beginning of 15. So it's going to be Eugenio Alonso, Mike Wright, Brandon Minto, Anthony Savignano, Zach Osborne, Daniel Moynihan, John Bawalda, Sylvain Joly, Michael Witt, and Alex Prince in your top 10. They'll be awarded bonus points here as we are under the only caution of the evening so far, of course. Due to the end of stage number 1, we're going to see everybody get ready to come on down pit road, and 4 tires and maybe some go fast there for the old gas tank. As we're going to get a hold of Eugenio Alonso. Let's get a hold of Eugenio right now in the number 26. Hey, Eugenio, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Dave. I got you, man.
Buddy, listen, look at you. Green and white checkered flag. You win the stage tonight so far. How's that car feeling? It looks like you're really dialed in.
Yeah, I feel really good and really fast. I'm saving. Try to don't make mistakes. But black cars complicate me.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on the Stage 1 win. Go ahead and get ready to make your pit stop. We will probably see you on the other side, I'm sure.
Thank you, brother.
All right, man. We're going to send Eugenio on back up to the Jackdown Motorsports stable. And meanwhile, we're going to look up here into the Ferta Motorsports because I've got to hear from the great Mike Wright out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Hey, Mike, it's Dave. You got me?
Hello, Dave.
Man, listen, you really were getting close to Eugenio there. A couple of opportunities just kind of slipped out of your hands. How's the 98 feeling tonight?
It gets a little slick after 5 or 6 laps, even though it's not too hot out here. COTA is just one of those tracks that you just have to run your laps, and you're going to have to make sure you're not getting off tracks by getting off the track. And if you get within the last 5 or 10 laps and you're good, then you can race hard. But he started coming back to Brandon and I, and thought we had a chance, and just didn't feel like pushing it on the last couple corners just for the stage.
No, I get it. You know, you were definitely within striking distance for the stage win, and, you know, I saw you back off. All of a sudden, you went from 3/4 of a second to about 3 seconds, you know, and maybe timing and scoring was off, but it just seemed like all of a sudden you just kind of cooled it down, which, you know, I was telling the folks earlier, you're one of the most patient drivers in this league. How much does patience, you know, come into play here at a road course?
I think it's huge. You know, it's not something that we spend a lot of time doing, obviously, if you're running a bunch of officials based off the normal season schedule. And COTA is a track that takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of routine and discipline. So if you got the discipline for it, you just kind of run your race, and that actually it's kind of refreshing because you kind of get alone and you don't have to worry about getting run over usually as you stretch it out on the road course. And I'm impressed though. You know, we set Brandon on to try to improve his road course, and he ran a bunch of races, and he loves COTA somehow. It's not my favorite, but he's loving it. So you could definitely tell on how he's driving, and it's no surprise Alonso's running well. So it'll just come down to, unfortunately, with the stages as they are, the tire wear's not going to be huge because we're going to run short every single one, but the off tracks are going to add up, and you might see somebody disappear randomly at the end of the race.
Yeah, we were afraid of that last night watching the Cup Series. We, waiting to see who got sent to DQ land, but quite frankly, everybody handled it really well last night, and I see a lot more of that tonight. The competition is hot, and at this point, it's more about waiting to see which cooler heads prevail, which of course is why you and Eugenio and Brandon are all up here in the top 3 right now. So, congrats, man, on the Stage 2 P2, and maybe we'll see you on the other side once again.
Yeah, keep it on the track, keep it rolling.
All right, now I'm going to go ahead and grab your teammate, that's for sure, because I never miss an opportunity here. Because I'll tell you what, some of these drivers here in this league, at least at this level, are some of the most talented drivers. And speaking of talented drivers, we now have Brandon Minto here with Uncle Scott watching from the wings. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave. You got me?
I got you, Dave.
All right, so you and your teammate are up here in 2 and 3. We just talked about patience and things paying off. What are things looking like from your perspective in the 12?
I think I had a little bit better long run speed than both Mike and Eugenio. What really messed me up, though, was I overshot turn 1 about 4 times. So I lost a lot of time doing that. If I wouldn't have burnt it through turn 1 a couple times, I may have had P2 or even a stage win there. But patience is very important. Trying to save the tires for the long run will definitely help out, though.
Now, the tires here, we were talking about tires last night in the Cup Series where, we had a lot of guys coming down just for, fuel only. Is that going to be a similar strategy, or do the tires actually give up here in the Xfinity cars?
Oh, tires definitely give up. I could feel a few times getting back on the throttle, the back end wanted to come out on me later in the run, so the rear tires are definitely burning. I was still having some good turn in, so the front tires might not be too bad, but getting on the gas pedal was a little tough later on in the run.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm always excited to see here on, especially at COTA, when you come up out of the front stretch into turn 1, the amount of energy that transfers through the suspension, the whole car almost goes weightless as you come to the top of the hill, and somehow you've got to woe that up. What's the secret, or is it more like just survival secrets?
Kind of survival secrets. I like for turn 1, except for like the 4 times I burnt through it. There's a little dirt spot on the track that I've been using as the break point for me, and it worked for the most part. As long as there was a few times. Oh, Eugenio was saying something on the radio there. There's a few times getting up through there that I would completely miss the dirt spot, and that was the 4 or 5 times that I blew through turn 1. But yeah, I think I'm going to just start braking a little bit earlier than that, just taking everything as safe as possible, so that way I don't keep messing up turn 1.
Yeah, back during the days when I was racing, I felt like it was hardest at road courses to find that break point. I mean, it's not like, on an oval where, okay, the car's starting to tighten up a little bit, and you just back that break point off. All of a sudden, now you've got, more than 19 turns, 21 turns to get through this piece. So all of a sudden, you have 21 different braking points. It's incredible to watch you guys work out here. So good luck to you. And, of course, I'm assuming that Uncle Scott's there tipping back the old Miller Lights.
Oh, absolutely. And my dad's up there with them, so they're watching together up there in Michigan. So hopefully I'm putting on a good show for them. Hopefully I can finish a little better than P3 in Stage 2 here. And then for the finish, hopefully I can get a win here.
All right, man. Well, listen, congrats on the P3 finish for Stage 1. Maybe we'll see you on the other side. Good luck, brother.
Absolutely. Have a good one, Dave.
That, of course, the voice of the great Brandon Minto, driver of the number 12 Oki Ford Mustang tonight, as we get ready to rock and roll once again. Looks like Trent Curtis going to be our new race leader as we come back around here. The iRacing.com pace car lights still on. Of course, tonight's pace car, a Porsche, since we're on a road course, so a little bit different than the traditional, that weird-looking pace car that we get. That's not really any kind of manufacturer that we've ever seen, or the pace truck that we traditionally see as well in some of these races. So it's going to be Trent Curtis here from Clarence Center, New York. We're going to see if we can get a hold of Trent and maybe find out what the heck he thinks he's doing up here atop the pile at a JAR TCR. Hey, Trent, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
What do you say about the stages?
I have no idea what he said about the stages.
All right, cool.
Anyway, it's Dave up here in the booth. You got me?
Oh, hey, Dave. How's it going?
I'm good, man. Listen, here you are sitting in the lead. Obviously, you've decided to not come down pit road now as you came down earlier in the stage. So what's going to be your strategy here moving through stage 2?
Probably. I don't know if any of my competitors are listening to this. Probably something similar to what I did in stage 1. Just simply out of, my teammates, Nick, Ethan, and Mike are here for points. I'm here just to get a win, have some fun. I figured flip the stages. I don't really need the points. No owner's points for the 13 car, so figured have some fun here and try to get ourselves a win.
The Road Course Whisperer is out to get himself a win. You came down on lap number 11, so you're going to be off cycle with everybody else. But, to your credit, I think we're going to see something interesting happen there with that because, now you've got yourself kind of built in here with a little bit of cushion. And, stage 2 going to be slightly shorter than stage 1 was just because of caution laps and all that happy, goofy stuff. So, listen, man, good luck and see if you can bring one home for Clarence Center, New York.
Thank you. We'll try our hardest.
All right, man, we're going to send him on back up here to JR TCR. And, of course, we want to talk to, let's see, here it goes. We want to try to get a hold of Mike McConville out of Cape May, New Jersey. Never miss an opportunity to talk to anybody from South Jersey. Hey, Mike, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Dave, how we doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. It looks like you're having kind of a rough night there in the one car. What are things looking like for you?
Honestly, sitting in the car, it's quite the opposite. I did not think I would be running almost in the top 10. So this is fantastic for me. I am not a road racer.
I mean, many of us aren't, and, to be plus 16 right now, you're one of the 2 biggest movers in the race. What's kind of your secret sauce as we get ready to go back green flag racing?
Don't get hit, don't get run over into these very slow hairpin corners, and keep it in between the rumble strips. It's basically my whole mantra for this race.
Yeah, that one corner we determined last night during the Cup race that's not a hairpin, that's more of a safety pin. And it's really more like Calamity Corner here at COTA. So getting yourself through there, having to change those braking distances as the car conditions change, has to come with a lot of patience. What kind of patience are you trying to, exhibit tonight?
A ton. Usually I don't have much for guys that are in front of me because I want to be in front of them. But knowing my road prowess, I'm trying to just all the patience. Someone's in front, someone's beside me going through these S's, let them go. I'll get them later. Maybe I won't get them. It's all good. We'll finish where we finish. Just wanted some top 15 tonight would feel like a win.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congrats there on where you're running right now. Maybe we'll see you on the other side as we get ready to go back green flag racing.
Appreciate you. Can I give one shout out real quick?
Absolutely.
First off, I want to shout out my dad. This paint scheme I'm running is an homage to the trucking company that he retired with, and it means a lot to me that I'm able to put on a good show in this paint scheme. So shout out to you, Dad. Love you, man.
All right, my man. Thank you very much. As always, we need to make sure we tip our caps to dear old Dad, because trust me, without them, none of us would be where we are today. So good luck, man, and congrats.
Appreciate you, man.
And, of course, Cape May, New Jersey's very own Mike McConville As you know, it's got to be a New Jersey thing. You want to get around that person in front of you. And for anybody who's ever driven down the Atlantic City Expressway, everybody seems to be trying to drive fast. It's like the AC Expressway 500 every time you're trying to go on down the shore in New Jersey. As Trent Curtis now following the iRacing.com pace car, we see the pace car driver with his little red earmuffs on, kind of chilling out. As they're going to be coming toward us now. Waiting for everybody to get themselves set. Everybody kind of just keeping those tires warm and clean, and sometimes that's the name of the game. Oftentimes we forget that there's a lot of crap that can build up on those tires as you know, the race goes on, especially when they're cold like that. They pick up little bits and pieces, which makes it even harder to pull the trigger and get ready to run on. As we've got about a quarter of a lap here until we go back green flag racing. iRacing.com pace car peels on down pit road. That means we'll be getting ready to go back green flag racing any moment here as we work through the final turn here. Just outside of the front stretch, of course, we see the SMI logo here as we work past and back here onto the front stretch. Reach way up there, pull those belts tight. We are back green flag racing on lap number 19. We're working our way toward lap number 30. So this is going to be a shorter stage. We're going to just take 1 second here and watch these cars come up the hill. You can see all of that weight transfer in each of these as they come to the top of the hill. That hood kind of pops up in the air as we move through here. We go on back to Trent Curtis and Mike Wright, as Mike Wright now making his move as he goes to serve Trent Curtis lunch. Mike Wright seems to be putting that hairnet on right now as Curtis comes down through the S's and works his way out toward turn number 10. 8 and 10, very interesting. Of course, here we are coming uphill now, and Curtis has his hands full, and we're going to see the same thing now. All of these cars, at first, you can see completely underneath them, and then as soon as they come down that turn out of 10 and toward 12 and 13, you know, all of a sudden now we're going to start to see that weight change. And of course, here we are. Oh, there goes the 91. That's Brad Gunn. We see Brad Gunn here in the 91. Not even in the hairpin or the clothespin, if you will. As, whoa, Chris Claude doing the same thing. They just split, and Gunn noses into the wall there. We're going to see what happens with Claude as well. Something that doesn't often happen with Chris. But I would be remiss if I didn't at least try to show him off a little bit here. Chief Cook and Bottle Washer hits that curb, and the rear end just comes all the way around as he crunches that front bumper. Hopefully we get a chance to talk with Fairview, Tennessee's very own Chris Claude. Of course, our Chief Cook and Bottle Washer in the SNN Cup Series every Sunday night in prime time right here on Sim Racing Media. Of course, tomorrow night you can also tune in for the truck race right here at Circuit of the Americas. We've got a full boat of races this week here on Sim Racing Media. Of course, we want to pull up that schedule here. Of course, here we are on a Monday night. SCL is going to be over on, actually it should just be getting underway with Angel and Daniel over on SCL. Of course, we want you to stay right here. Then tomorrow night, the Racers Elite takes off at 7:35 with Mike and Alan. Then, of course, myself right back here in the SNN Truck Series. Then Western States Racing League, your nightcap, one of our longest tenured leagues here on Sim Racing Media. Going to be anchored by Liam and Sam, and I'll tell you what, Liam is one of the best in the business when it comes to producing. So if you want to see some great camera work, some great replay work, go ahead and tune into the Western States Racing League at 10:20 Eastern Time. Wednesday nights is going to be Roughneck Racing at 7 p.m. with Angel and Sam, and then Racers Elite with Mike at 7:30, and Moonshiners will probably be featuring yours truly at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Sim Racing Media. Thursday, I am back once again, so looking right now at like 5 races this week with yours truly, as Daniel Paulus Jr. and I will be anchoring the Racers Elite Xfinity Series at 7:30 Eastern on Thursday. Then Saturday afternoon at 5:30, you see Liam once again and Alan Bergen. And then a 3-person booth for the ECR Series at 9 p.m. Eastern on Saturday night. Liam Allen and Emily Urias making her return. And then once again at 8 p.m. prime time on Sunday night, we stand alone because we are the greatest at what we do. Dave Regal and Matt Metler with you for Sunday night NASCAR Cup Series action right here on Sim Racing Media. Taking a look deeper into the field, Aaron Mack and Alex Prinson starting to go at it, as Prinson just 0.3 of a second ahead of Mack. Now, you know, this stage, as we had mentioned, going to be slightly shorter than stage number 1 just because of the caution laps being built in, as we're on lap number 20. So we're about 10.5 laps away from stage 2 ending. So a lot of the intensity here in this particular... Whoa! There goes Aaron Mack. Let's see what we can find out what happened there with Aaron, as it just seems like maybe he got a little wet and wild coming through that turn. He's right behind Alex Prinson. As we come into the carousel, yep, the rear end just stepped out on him and kept rotating. That allowed Sam Bolin to work his way past. As now we see Chris Custer up here ahead of Michael Witt, getting through that safety pin turn. So many of these drivers starting to, you know, maybe lose a little bit of patience as they work their way through here on lap number 21. And while they work through lap 21, we're going to step aside, but don't worry, we'll be NASCAR nonstop right here on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal. This is the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast Booth, and you're watching Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand inside. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Aphrodite is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler, or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic, real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas here in Austin, Texas, where we're on lap number 24. 6 laps to go here in stage number 2, as Mike Wright has now assumed the race lead, and this would be the Mike Wright version of assumed position, as he leads Eugenio Alonso by about 1.1 seconds. Anthony Savignano running in 3rd position right now, while Brandon Minto in 4th. Minto looking to the inside of Savignano here, coming into the tight turn here at the end of that straightaway. And now we start to look forward here to see whether or not Minto can maybe put the old hairnet on and serve lunch to Savignano. Meanwhile, Nick Hansen, Rich Jett, and Corey Burkett involved in some mishaps here. We'll take a look at Rich Jett first, as he here in the double natural 77 just coming in a little bit too hot. All of a sudden, he's got the 07 of Corey Burkett to his inside. Meanwhile, Burkett manages to get on through. Nick Hansen, once again, coming up the hill. We can almost guess what this is going to be. Maybe overshooting that entry. And here is Hansen in the 99, getting right into the side of Burkett. And that, of course, the same thing that has Burkett on our timing and scoring. Zach Osborne now popping up. As he has gone off track, we see Osborne here in the 16. Osborne following the 08 of Sylvain Joly. Oh, catches that curb. And almost the same way as Chris Claude did just a few minutes ago. You know, just has that rear end start to step out on him. As we take a look here at Sylvain Joly, who is just desperately trying to get up here alongside of Zachary Vaughn. Meanwhile, Alex Brinson being challenged right now by Mike McConville, just 3/4 of a second behind. He's got the 93 right in between the two of them. That's Tane Hodison, who would be the lucky dog if the stage were to end right now. Of course, tonight we have, let's see, right now it appears 23 cars on the lead lap from Mike Wright all the way back to Chris Claude, as Mike Wright turns lap number 25. So we're about 5.5 laps to go here in stage number 2 as he heads on down toward turn 10. These drivers are starting to really show their true colors. Of course, wow, Mike Wright taking an unusual step out of line. Meanwhile, riding along here with Eugenio Alonso. Alonso going to come down this long straightaway. This is where, you know, he has really made some hay tonight, being able to enter that safety pin turn oh so gently. As we see him here in 4th gear, he's all of a sudden going to have to get it woed down really fast. He's starting to close in on Mike Wright, and there he goes, making it through. Closing the gap now to 1.5 seconds. So obviously now he knows where he can catch Mike Wright. Does he have enough time here in stage 2 is the question to complete that deal. As we take another look here further back at Richard Pruitt. Pruitt now trying to chase down Michael Whitney, 88. About 0.6 of a second between those two drivers. Just ahead, though, Mike McConville still hiding behind Tane Hodison in the 93. You know, sometimes on a road course, it's almost better to be following someone. That way you're not setting the marks. You know, it kind of gives you a little bit better of an idea at braking points and entry points, as Sam Bolin and Aaron Mack seem to have gotten into something. The blimp catching this one ahead. There's Sam Bolin in the 67, getting alongside Zach Osborne to his right. All of a sudden, Aaron Mack just appears out of nowhere. Bolin can't get it, you know, woed down, and just absolutely annihilates the rear end of the 31. We're going to check this once again, as that was downright violent. We see Bolin here in the I-flag car. He's gearing down, he's on the binders, but Aaron Mack is just up here minding his own business and gets sent around like this is bumper cars at Knoebels Amusement Park up in Elyxburg, Pennsylvania. Mike Wright, though, he's up here taking his time, still trying to hold off Eugenio Alonso, who has now closed the gap to 1.3 seconds. So we're going to have to start watching that for sure as we look at the time delta. There it is. Alonso starting to run about 0.2 of a second faster than Wright here in the deep part of stage 2. This is where we're going to see a lot of distance come off here. Here comes the battle box. Watch Eugenio Alonso in this battle for first and the amount of time that he's able to erase off of Mike Wright's lead. All of a sudden, he's got 0.1 of a second, and when he gets back on the throttle, this is where Eugenio Alonso really fires off and gets that time back, as now he kind of, yo-yos himself back to 1.15 seconds, but it's not going to be for long, that's for sure, as he's starting to close in on Mike Wright with just about 5 laps to go here. Going to be 4 laps to go this time by. Brandon Minto, as we take a look here, starting to fall off from Eugenio, and Savignano just trying to find a groove. Right now, wow, here it comes. Eugenio Alonso side by side with Mike Wright as they come here onto the front stretch. All of a sudden, he went from 1.15 seconds to side by side. Eugenio Alonso using that Chevrolet muscle to get alongside Mike Wright in the Ford Mustang, that number 98 discount tire machine. As they come up the hill, they're going to be side by side, holding hands coming through that hairpin and down into the S's. This is going to be exciting to watch as they work their way through here. Mike Wright has the edge coming into the S's. Eugenio Alonso looking for a way out and around Mike. And right now, Mike just kind of hitting every mark that he can as we come on out of the S's and on our way up toward turn 8. As they come up the hill and in toward turn 10, these two are just neck and neck with no end in sight. Mike Wright still manages to hold on to that lead, but Eugenio Alonso now has put maybe the fear of God into him as they work their way here with 20 to go. Tony Burt looks like he stepped out of line maybe when he didn't want to. We see him here in the 4 machine. We'll see where that chopper might have been. And once again, Calamity cornered the safety pin. He locks him up, but he stays on track. It still registers as a crash, but, definitely could have been worse, that's for sure. But Mike Wright leading Eugenio Alonso by 9/10 of a second, and this is starting to get even closer now as we work lap number 27 on our way to lap number 30. Trent Curtis starting to try to creep in here on Anthony Savignano in the 50. Savignano in the BWT Toyota Supra holding Curtis off by just 3/10 of a second. They were down to a quarter of a second a moment ago. All of a sudden, Curtis looked in the rearview mirror and said, oh man, Savignano looked in the rearview mirror and said, oh man, I got to start to maybe throw a little bit extra on this. As Brandon Minto, you can throw a blanket over the top 3. Right now it's just a matter of where they're going to finish as we see the lap car of Tony Burt coming down the hill here and into the S's. Tony's had kind of a rough night being pushed around the racetrack by, just some really strong and not necessarily overly aggressive driving. As Michael Wick going to bring the 88 pit side here. Richard Pruitt already on pit road. He's going to drop down after his 4-tire stop. Dan Morgan here in the 72 has seen some rough times once again tonight as we just simply keep an eye on everything that's going on here on the racetrack. Alex Brinson, Anthony Savignano trying to hold off Trent Curtis. Mike McConville creeping in or being crept in upon by Alex Brinson. Brinson looks to the left, he looks to the right, and I'm almost afraid to see what happens here because the last time we rode along with Brinson like this, bad things happened as he took a bite out of the rear end of the 4-car driven by Tony Burt. As they come up through turns 8, 9, and now going down through 10, Alex Brinson stands on the loud pedal to try to get the 19 cranked up to crazy. We can see that first tight near hairpin turn. Oh dear. They're going to roll out of there, and as they change directions, this is where we're going to see whether or not Brinson can make that pass on McConville here at the safety pin. He gets it all the way down into first gear and just does not get through there, as well as McConville. Now McConville was holding on to 11th position at the end of stage 1. He's doing so once again here at the end of stage 2. He's up 16 positions from where he qualified. However, biggest mover of the night in a surprise move is Alexander Gangler in the number 8 Toyota Supra in the Michigan Tech machine. Still trimmed out with some purple from last year's, whoa, little fishtail action from the 8 last year's playoffs, as we are 18 laps to go, working lap number 29 here at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Matt Mettler having himself a bad moment here, as once again we see him coming down toward the safety pin. And Matt, you got to turn left. He almost forgot to turn left. That's what happened there. Got to be honest, I was waiting for him to make some kind of a move. He didn't. Here's Brad Gunn from our chopper cam. And we're looking from just above him. Looks like he's had himself another moment here as he works his way through the arena toward the carousel. Maybe the car just getting too tight here toward the end of the tire run. And as excited as we were for Alexander Gangler, here we are just moments ago. As he comes out of the carousel and back onto the front stretch, the rear end just keeps rotating around. We've seen that many times tonight, and oddly enough, almost always in a Toyota. All of a sudden, Mike Wright has Eugenio Alonso gapped by 1.25 seconds. Minto here just a little bit further back by 7 seconds. So these drivers up here just have to be hitting their marks and they can get themselves a top 3. You know, it looks like the big battle of the night is going to be between Mike Wright and Eugenio Alonso, as we're now 18 laps to go, working lap number 29. As the Discount Tire Ford Mustang shows the way, a lot of these times starting to get themselves, you know, pretty far out. We see nothing but white on our timing and scoring line. Tony Burt with Sylvain Jolie on his left. Jolie in 9th, Burt back in 28th and down several laps. Just trying to finish it out here. Of course, he is one of the other Jackdown Motorsports drivers. Speaking of which, checking in on Chief Cook and Bottle Washer John Bawalda as we are on lap number 30 now. So in about 8/10 of a lap, we're going to see the end of stage number 2. John Bawalda said it earlier that he's got a good setup tonight that, you know, he worked on, and it looks like right now Eugenio Alonso, the biggest guy to be exploiting that, as we see Chris Claude registering as having crashed. We'll see what happened with old Chris here as they come into the arena. He looks to the inside all of a sudden of the 64 Mettler, and that takes him off of his racing line and causes him to make a weird entry there into the arena as he now heads down that next back chute and toward the safety pin. Matt Mettler registering another crash on timing and scoring. This time turning right. Matt, listen. Wow. Something must be wrong here. We're going to ride along with it. I believe he ran out of fuel. I'm not 100% positive. But it almost seems like Mettler ran out of fuel. We're going to take one more look here. In fact, we'll see if we can just rewind this. Something is heinously wrong with the 64. We'll have to get a chat with him before he heads out for the night. Mike Wright crosses the start-finish line, and he will capture the green and white checkered flag. Eugenio Alonso comes home in second, Brandon Minto in third, Trent Curtis in fourth, Anthony Savignano in fifth as he tries to get moving in. Zachary Vaughn battling it out with Daniel Moynihan as we come back onto the front stretch. Looks like Savignano going to be scored ahead of Moynihan and Vaughn. John Bawalda, Sylvain Joly, and Ethan Ball make out your top 10. So toward the end, the 53 and the 50 really going at it, but now we're going to get a chance to talk to Mike Wright as he gets himself caught back up here to the iRacing.com pace car. So we're going to head on up here to Ferda Motorsports and see if we can get a hold of Mike. Hey, Mike, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, I got you.
All right, so you wind up getting yourself the Stage 2 win. What's going to be the secret sauce for 3?
Stop the race now and call it.
I'm all for it, man.
Nah,
I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. I mean, it'll be, by the time we get the caution laps and stuff, it'll be very similar in the length of the run. So you're probably going to see something about similar. I know that there was probably a couple cars that probably pitted before, but I didn't see a ton of people on the relative stuff, so it should be somewhat similar to what our restart was last time. It may just come down to who comes out of the restart with the lead and can kind of pace themselves and not make mistakes.
Yeah, it looks like Michael Wick came in on 27, but Trent Curtis finishes in 4th that time after not having been in since lap 11. Is the fuel lasting that long, or is there something wrong with my timing and scoring?
Yeah, fuel could go like 22, 23 laps. So none of these little segments would push the fuel. It's all about, you are going to give up some time if you pit the couple laps early. You don't want to run hard when you come out of the pits, but there'll still be a little difference. I think that's why you saw when he had the lead, he was slipping around a little bit more. Part of that could have been a little bit of tires. Part of that could be he was just trying to drive hard so he could keep the lead. So it was an option. We were thinking about it and just kind of trying to pay attention. But once I got the lead, I didn't want to give up the stage win and the playoff point just to pit. So here we are. We'll have to make our way back up.
Yeah, I mean, nobody would blame you for, trying to keep the lead and get some extra bonus points here. So congrats on the Stage 2 win, and I'm sure that we will see you on the other side tonight.
All right, have a good one.
All right, we're going to send Mike back on up into the Ferda Motorsports chat here. And next, I would be remiss if I didn't ask what was going on here with the 64. Hey, Matt, it's Dave. You got me?
Loud and clear, brother.
You want to explain what on God's green earth you were doing there in the old 64? Did you run out of gas?
Yeah, I got talking to Chris about broadcasting and Xfinity, and next thing I know, I completely forgot I had to pit. Hey, at this point, I'm just glad I got all 4 fenders on the car. I haven't launched it into the woods, anything like that. And we're out here having a good time. That's what matters.
So what you're saying is it's Chris Claude's fault because he distracted you?
No, ultimately it's my fault, but the conversation may have played a role.
Fair enough. Listen, I mean, you got to keep in mind, it's hard to launch it off the track when you don't have enough gas to get around on the track.
Well, this is true.
Maybe what you should have done was you should have kept a small bottle of a certain libation that we have a fondness for here on SRM. And you could have put that in the gas tank, could have gotten you the rest of the way on that lap.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I had it set up with a pull cord. The problem is someone drank it before I was able to use it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, that's because you left your car unattended, and I climbed in there and grabbed it. I was thirsty. But listen, man, good luck.
Okay.
You see what I did there?
Yes, sir.
Listen, good luck the rest of the way. I mean, try to keep the fuel in the car and the tires underneath, and hey, listen, it's a road course, it's a wild card. Sometimes it's nice just to come out and do exactly what you were doing, chatting with Chris Claude, because neither of you has well, I'm sorry, let's be honest, neither of you has a real shot here at the checkered flag unless...
Absolutely not.
You know, that being said, it's nice sometimes just to hang out and shoot the breeze.
It's nice to make the field for once, to be quite honest with you, so I'm just enjoying it. I'm trying to go out here, learn a little bit, and I don't expect to even be in the ballpark with some of these guys. We just watched a lot of them race last night, and my jaw's still unhinged from some of the lap times they were putting up then.
Yeah, I mean, tonight we're still running 2 minutes. We're about 5 seconds slower tonight. 2 minutes, 16 seconds, 31 for actually 2 minutes, 16.24 for fast time.
That's incredible.
So, yeah, it's incredible even on a bad day. And, or even on a good day, I mean. And these guys are still 5 seconds slower than what we saw last night.
It's... not sure how I want to describe that, because it really feels like I'm out here flying and knowing they were, and if I'm a second or two off of them, that's more like 7-8 seconds. I got a lot of work to do.
I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but here it goes. Their best time was 2 minutes 16.24. Your best time was 2 minutes 32.57.
Yeah, that's
And this.
Well,
is
we don't really
have
have to say anything about that.
I am just here. I am just here to support you and cheer on my teammate.
Hey, come watch me Friday night in money racing.
Well,
that's where I shine. Yeah, I mean, I'm 2 for 2.
Attaboy, Luther. All right, brother. Listen, good luck the rest of the way.
All right, Dave. Have a great call up in the booth, man. Thank you.
I can never resist ribbing my friends and family who are out here on the racetrack. And when I say family, I mean a lot of these guys, especially like Matt Metler, you spend so much time with this. Finally, we're coming down pit road with 14 laps to go. A lot of these guys I have known for the last several years. And Matt and I have shared some really good and emotional times here on Sim Racing Media. So, some of the things that you experience here in the iRacing.com servers go so much deeper than the on-track activity, as Michael Witt going to cycle himself up here to the lead in the 88. Wholesale pit stops underway. Tane Hodison trying to get himself caught back up. Daniel Moynihan going to come off pit road first. He'll be joined by Mike Wright, Eugenio Alonso, Brandon Minto, and Trent Curtis. So when we go back green flag racing, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to be Michael Witt here in the 88, then Daniel Moynihan, Mike Wright, Eugenio Alonso, Brandon Minto, Trent Curtis, Zachary Vaughn, John Bawalda, Anthony Savignano, and Sylvain Joly, your restarting top 10. So many of these drivers are going to get themselves, settled in here, maybe, take a breather, as right now the iRacing.com pace car lights are still on. That means that we aren't going back green flag racing just yet, as we're going to get a chance here to talk with my good friend and my brother from another mother, Mr. Tony Bird. Hey, Tony, it's Dave. You got me?
Hey, Dave. How are you, bud?
I'm good up here in the booth, but I got to know, does your neck hurt from being whacked by Alex Princeton earlier that hard?
Yeah, he said that was my fault, of course. I said go around me on the outside, and he decided to go on the inside, so I don't know. Yeah, it didn't feel good.
It wasn't even trying to go around on the outside. It was, you can't drive through somebody.
Yeah, he typed up on the thing and said that it was my fault, that I should have got out of his way. I don't know. I was being as courteous as I could to everybody. I'm not very good at these, as we know.
Well, yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing. If there was somebody out on the racetrack that is any more courteous, I can't find them, because if you say Tony Bird's rude, I'm going to ask whether or not you're high.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't understand what he's thinking. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's a road course. Everybody's confused because we're turning right.
That's right. I'm just glad to be out here, because I'm not real good at these, so I'm just glad to be out here and still racing.
Well, my man, I mean, listen, you've got a couple of teammates that are doing pretty well tonight. You've got Bawalda running in 8th position. Of course, Eugenio up in 4th. I mean, right now you're just being a good teammate riding along.
Yeah, they love this crap just like I love the super speedways. So this isn't my thing. But since I'm 8th in points, I wanted to be out here and try. But I think I could have done just as good by doing a lap and going home. But that's the way it goes.
Yeah, don't take the DNS. Just make sure that you finish somewhere. But
that's right.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on having a couple of teammates there, and thank you as always for being the consummate professional when it comes to courteousness on the racetrack.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for doing the broadcast. Would love to see you. Love to hear from you, buddy.
Always glad to be here watching you guys. Good luck, buddy.
Thanks.
That, of course, the voice of the great Tony Burt. Looks like we've got some folks finally paying attention to the YouTube.com live chat. Austin Wilson telling Minto to do better. Of course, Michigan Rocker cheering on Team Ferda. That, of course, Mike Wright and Brandon Minto. And that one's gonna go away. It's not very polite. Alexander Gangler down on pit road, getting some repair done to the 8 machine. The 77 of Rich Jet coming down. Smell funky, get skunky, it says there. And what in the world is that on the hood? Every now and then I start to see some interesting paint schemes, and this is one of them. Let's see if we can raise this. What a Bill I Am motor oil. Never even height of it. So we're going to have to check that one out at some point. Richard Pruitt here on pit road in the 24. Dan Morgan, Randall Watkins out of Miami, Florida. The Miami-Dade Fire and Rescue, number 27. In fact, we're going to see if we can get a hold of Randall. There he is. Hey, Randall, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, listen, I know you're running 32nd. You're pretty deep in the field tonight. But, it's road course racing. What's going on there with the old 27?
Yeah, I'm not, these cars just aren't built for road racing. You put me in an open wheel or a GT car, and I can show you how to get around this place, but these things are just too tall, too heavy, no grip, no brakes. So it's just, I'm just hanging on.
Hey, listen, sometimes it's more about the the experience and hanging out with the guys in the money.
Oh yeah, I mean, these things are fun to try to get around this track with, but they're a handful sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, as we look toward next week and getting along here in the season, next week we go to Richmond. What do you think in short track racing?
I like short tracks. Richmond doesn't like me though, but I usually do pretty decent there. It's not my greatest short track. It's probably my worst one. But I'm looking forward to Martinsville and the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean, we're going short track racing 2 in a row, Richmond and then Martinsville. That's going to be really tough here in these Xfinity cars. But to me, the Xfinity cars are built for the short tracks.
Oh, yeah. It definitely handles better than the Gen 6 does. I mean, the next gen. I keep calling it a Gen 6.
Yeah, it's close enough. Who cares? At this point, it's just a cup car. It's a fancy cup car.
Exactly. It's just an upgrade.
Mm-hmm. I mean, here's the thing. It's kind of like, you're out here in these big old tanks and you're trying to wobble back and forth on the road course, where the next gen car with those independent suspensions is just a lot more agile. So, listen, you get yourself through this, then you've got some really cool races to run in the Xfinity cars, and then of course you make the run to Texas and then Talladega. in toward the end of April. So you've got a really cool segment of the season coming up here.
Oh, yes. I'm definitely looking forward to Texas and Talladega. I love my super speedways. So you'll find me at the front.
All right, my man. Well, listen, we look forward to that. Good luck the rest of the way, and we'll see you next week at Richmond.
All right. Thank you, Dave. It's been a pleasure. Appreciate y'all in the booth.
What's that?
Said I appreciate you guys in the booth. You're doing a great job.
That's what I'm here for, man. Take care of yourself.
All right, man. You too.
Of course, that's Bandit Racing's very own Randall Watkins. My brother in red, of course, from the Miami-Dade Fire and Rescue Department. As Michael Witt follows the iRacing.com pace car. We're 13 to go here. It has been a long series of pace laps. So we're going to be 12 to go when the green flag flies one more time here at COTA. The iRacing.com pace car peels on down pit road, leaving Michael Witt to keep everybody behind him. They make that final turn here onto the front stretch. The 53 of Daniel Moynihan not able to line back up. He's going to fall back some. The green flag waves, and we're back underway. 12 laps to go here as Mike Wright puts the hairnet on to serve lunch as he shoots out of turn number 1, basically shoving Moynihan out of the way. They nearly go 3 wide with Eugenio Alonso, the meat in that sandwich. Michael Witt wisely trying to keep himself away from the mayhem behind him as we enter the S's. And coming through the S's, this is where some of these drivers can really, make their names known, or they can absolutely annihilate their race. And so far, it looks like Mike Wright doing a great job here, trying to hold off Daniel Moynihan and Anthony Savignano. We see Savignano here in the 50 chasing down Moynihan. He's got the milk. Moynihan's got the cereal. One of them has got to come out here in third position. Mike Wright right now controlling second position, while Michael Witt leads this piece by 7/10 of a second. Back much deeper in the field, Alex Princeton and Brad Gunn going at it as wow. Oh, there it is. Another one where it looks like Princeton just nudged Furlan out of the way. We're going to ride along here with Furlan in the chopper cam. Furlan goes to check up as the 66 gets out of control, and it just looks like Princeton drove into him. So not sure what brought that on, but here they are killing it as Mike Wright going to lead this race now ahead of Anthony Savignano and Daniel Moynihan. We're going to see Mike Wright passing Michael Witt for the lead here as they come down here toward the safety pin turn on the straightaway. Mike Wright just choosing to gun it in here a little deeper than Savignano and Michael Witt, and he just makes it look that easy to pass. So while Mike Wright settles in here to the race lead, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here one last time with 12 laps to go. Here on Sim Racing Media, I'm Dave Regal. You're watching Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second spot, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around, we're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas here in Austin, Texas. Dave Regal here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth with you tonight. 8 laps to go as Mike Wright crosses the start-finish line here on the front stretch at COTA. He comes up the hill here into turn 1 once again as he has been dominant here in stage number 3. Anthony Savignano in second position. We have seen this top 3 recycle itself like a plastic bottle from the Coca-Cola company repeatedly tonight, as we still have, 2 more drivers different here in the top 3 as Mike Wright leads this piece. Eugenio Alonso with the front nose clip ripped off the 26, still making time here coming through the S's. Mike Wright, though, nice and clean as always here in the 98. As we look further back here in the field, a battle starting to break out around Alex Prinson. Alex Prinson leading the 73 of Zachary Vaughn, just hops the curb. That turtle shell nearly taking the front end off of the 19. He manages to keep it nice and steady here as he bounced back down onto the asphalt, coming out of the S's and up toward turn number 8. Vaughn now trailing here as we turn on the battle box. Looks like Vaughn just about 0.4 of a second behind Prinson. Now Prinson starting to, whoa, I didn't see that before. We'll take a look here from our chopper cam. Get to the chopper. Riding along with Alex Prinson now, coming down toward that safety pin turn, which has been calamity corner for so many drivers tonight. Prinson really wheeling it through that turn, holding it all together. Manages to do very well. Meanwhile, he's got Zachary Vaughn in hot pursuit, and Vaughn, where Eugenio is missing the front nose clip, it almost looks like Zachary Vaughn is missing the rear clip, as we can see just inside where that fuel cell would be in the back of most of these cars. Eugenio Alonso and Trent Curtis, though, still trying to get up here to Mike Wright, but right now Savignano now 6.07 seconds up to Mike Wright. So a lot of time between Wright and Savignano, and not a lot of time left in this piece. Thirty-seven drivers took the green flag tonight. Keith Black putting it on the hauler after just 5 laps. Steve Herring after just 6. Ethan Eckert already out of the race as well. Some of these drivers just not having a successful night here at COTA. And, these road courses, it's a different discipline for many of these drivers. So what tends to happen here is we see what we call a road course whisperer here on Sim Racing Media, where, you may not be great at the intermediates, you may not be great at the super speedways, but somehow, you manage to dominate at a road course. Now, interestingly enough, the bread and butter for Mike Wright, our current race leader in the 98, his bread and butter is absolutely the 1.5 miles. I mean, if you put him on 1.5 miles, wow, sliding through there, locking that front right tire up is John Bawalda as he goes side by side with Brandon Minto, nearly exchanging paint with him as Minto and Bawalda get the torches and pitchforks out with 7 laps to go. We see it, there are some drivers that just have this style of racing dialed in, and, that's where some of these drivers are fortunate enough to get that playoff ticket punched and, at least let some of that frustration and that fear out here on the racetrack. Going to take a look at Brad Gunn and see what might have happened with him. We see Brad Gunn once again coming down that long straightaway. Here he comes into the safety pin turn and just takes it a little bit, maybe a lot bit too wide, and misses that completely. John Wilco also falling victim now to some bad luck here on the racetrack. We had the chopper above him. Keep an eye right here on the 62 moving into the arena. And that rear end just spins him all the way around. He almost does a victory donut right in front of Ron Fitting and Dan Morgan as they move on past him. And fortunately enough, he's able to get out of the way. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Brandon Minto now bringing along Tane Hodison and the 93 get their way around John Bawalda. They're starting to put Ethan Ball in the crosshairs, but they've got a lot of distance to make up. They're nearly 3.1 seconds and closing in ever so gently as all kinds of smoke but no fire. So that may have been Ethan Ball coming into the clothespin turn, the safety pin turn. Michael Whitney, 88, rounding out your top 10 for the time being. He's got a rear view mirror full of Mike McConville, still running in 11th position. If there's anybody who's going to get the consistency award of the evening, Chris Clubb may be Mr. Consistency, running right now in 19th position, but Mike McConville is going to get the consistency award for the evening here with 5 laps to go. Has not come off of 11th position in I can't tell you how long. So he's obviously got himself in a nice, comfy place, not too far back, not too far forward, and, you know, he doesn't have to worry about ripping up that equipment like a piece of paper. Going to take a look and see what happened with Aaron Mack now with 5 laps to go. Aaron Mack here in the 31 machine. He looks to the inside of Zachary Vaughn and catches the left rear of Zachary Vaughn and actually turns himself sideways. We'll see if we can maybe get a quick view of that from his nose. Here it is coming out of the S as he looks to the inside of Vaughn. Vaughn just dives to go into the S's and comes across the nose of Mack. So I would say that's no harm, no foul. Vaughn wanted to be where Mack was. Taking a peek here at Zach Osborne working to the left side now of John Bawalda. Bawalda trying to hold him off as we go back up to Bawalda. My goodness. Here's going to be Zach Osborne making the move coming uphill. He gets right to the inside, slides across Bawalda's nose as they get ready to go back downhill into turn number 2. Bawalda not done yet as he hauls it down into 2. He's got Michael Witt in tow. Now Witt knows how he can get around Osborne as John Bawalda turns on the afterburners, defending 8th position away from Zach Osborne in the 16. They come out of the S's and into turn number 8 as if it is all kinds of hell getting ready to break loose. Coming down into the hairpin section of the track. This is going to be interesting as we move on through here. We can see each of these drivers trying to work their way through, and it has not been easy all night long. They call this a hairpin. It's more like a safety pin. As they come down here, we can see Bawalda still with, wow, Osborne now looking to the outside. Savignano just stepped off track for just a moment. We're going to see him coming down here into the arena. And oh my, we're having some fun now as he just about had Trent Curtis taken care of here to get himself into 2nd position. But now Savignano and Curtis with about 1.2 seconds between them. About a half second separates Brad Gunn and Aaron Mack. As Brad Gunn trying to hold Mack off, but with 3 laps to go, there's not really a whole lot of time for finesse. It's soon time for you to get ready and strap on that V-plow to the front of these stock cars. Mike Wright working lap number 44 now. So 3 laps to go here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity race at Circuit of the Americas. Trent Curtis running in 2nd position. Anthony Savignano about 2.7 seconds behind. Brad Gunn in the 91 registering a crash, as well as Tony Burton, Chris Claude. We'll get to each of them. As here we are coming into the arena once again out of Aztec, New Mexico, is Brad Gunn just absolutely missing turn entry, and that just provides a boom goes the dynamite kind of moment here. We see Tony Burt coming down toward the safety pin. And Tony Burt tries to get the 4-car woed up, and he just can't, and overshoots that just in front of Randall Watkins. He doesn't even let Watkins go. He slides back into the racing surface and takes his life into his own hands. And we see the same thing here with Chris Claude, as we'll get a chance to ride along with him right here. Once again, trying to keep it under control, just overshoots that entry, which absolutely screws up your exit. And as we cross the start-finish line, the popsicle sticks go in the air. We're 2 laps to go. Mike Wright, usually a mile-and-a-half bread-and-butter kind of guy, has been dominant here in stage number 3. He took the lead several laps ago and has not turned around to check and see if anybody else was around him. That's the kind of race car driver that Mike Wright is here in the number 98 Discount Tire Ford Mustang. You know, Mike is here to get it done. He's not here to be flashy. He's not here to, you know, outshine anybody. As speaking of outshining some folks, Brad Gunn once again coming uphill this time. Wow. Just getting into it. Oh, no. Oh, never mind. They came back. I was afraid that we had just sent Chris Custer to Dairy Queen land. DQ for you folks at home. Of course, meaning disqualified. But right now, the Furta Motorsports number 98 Discount Tire Ford Mustang leads the way nearly 11 seconds ahead of I almost said Tony Curtis. Along with Anthony Savignano in the 50, that BWT Toyota Supra, he's been whipping it around the racetrack. He's about 4 seconds ahead of Eugenio Alonso, who had the setup to beat tonight, your pole sitter, but unable to keep it clean enough here during the race itself. The popsicle sticks go down. The white flag is in the air, and we're racing back to checkers as Alexander Gangler got himself turned around here. We can see that he's on the binders, that splitter almost scraping the asphalt as he tries to go in here and just brings the rear end around. Unfortunately, at this stage in the race, not enough time to get anything else accomplished. You might as well just try to bring it home. But we're taking a look now at our race leader and presumed race winner, Mike Wright, as he comes down here into the arena. One more time. And the cameras wanted to get a little goofy as he comes out of the S's and into turn number 10. He is all by his lonesome here. And to me, that's something impressive in and of itself as we see him coming down here through the hairpin. I mean, this is just something, you know, out of a storybook to see somebody like Mike Wright, who's usually so dominant in the mile and a halfs, now getting it done on this 3-mile track here. Best lap time of the night, 2 minutes, 16 seconds, 31. And we've had other drivers go faster than that. Of course, 2 minutes, 16 seconds, 24 goes to Eugenio Alonso. And then the rest is all kinds of history as some of these other drivers have been out there for, 10 seconds-ish between them. As Mike Wright comes down into the carousel. Just cannot be more excited for this man out of Greensboro, North Carolina. He rolls it out of the carousel and into that final section of the racetrack. Mike Wright managing to find another way here to get her done as the checkered flag is slowly being pulled out of its sheath. The iRacing.com official stands here at the ready to celebrate for Mike Wright. Mike Wright comes down the front stretch all by his lonesome, nearly 10 seconds between he and Trent Curtis. Crosses the start-finish line. And Mike Wright wins the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series race right here at Circuit of the Americas. We're going to get a chance to talk to our top three right here in just a moment as we're going to pull them all down. And we're going to get a chance right here. We're going to get a chance now to talk to our race winner, Mike Wright. Hey, Mike, it's Dave. You got me?
I do, Dave. How's it going?
Listen, it's going fine for me. It seems to be going pretty good for you as you as the mile-and-a-half bread and butter kind of guy just came out here and dominated Stage 3 on the road course.
Yeah, I feel pretty good on most road courses. I feel like I can be consistent, and so I think that's a big key, especially running the full races. I think not having the stage breaks helps me out a lot better, like we had last year, but they're still long enough. Those are some long runs. Arms a little tired, but consistency pays off. And then, like I said, just getting through that restart, that's a big key. You got to come out the other side of turn one with a pretty good position, and then you can just kind of maintain it. So it was fun overall.
Yeah, you know, one of the things I'm always impressed with you with is the amount of consistency that you carry into every race. You know, very rare is the time that I see you step off of your line or make a major swing of an adjustment at something. You know, you're kind of like a mad scientist when it comes to the setup, and even more so, one of the most, you know, detail-oriented drivers during race day. So, you know, as we get ready to go in, of course, next week to Richmond, what are you thinking once we go short track racing?
I enjoy Richmond. I think I enjoy it better when we can get some tire wear and some long green flag runs, but that's challenging sometimes to get with the way Richmond runs. But it can be a good race. I think we'll have a pretty good setup. We hadn't hit it up yet because there's so many things to work on for this track. I didn't get to get ahead for the next race like I normally do, so we'll get after it Wednesday probably. Wednesday's a good setup day for me. I can do a lot of laps, and Minto's usually on, and we kind of talk back and forth a little bit, and then we get to some trial races and see how it goes. And usually by Monday and Tuesday we've got a pretty decent feel of things.
Hey, practice may not make you perfect, but it certainly gets you as close as humanly possible. So congratulations on that. A tip of the cap to you for the dedication that it takes to put these races on every week and make them exciting as you did tonight. And before we cut you loose, as always, who do you need to thank?
I think Minto, and I want to give a shout out to him. Coming into that last restart, turn one, everything kind of got slowed up, and he ended up getting turned, and he dropped back in the 20s, and my man drove it back to 5th. I feel like had he got through pretty clean, we might have been looking at a Ferta 1-2. So he's gotten a lot better. He may still hate the road courses, but he's definitely gotten a lot better at them. So as he gets better at them, it helps me too, because, you know, just like anything, he can learn certain areas of the track and feel better, and it makes me better.
Absolutely. All right, my friend. Well, listen, congrats on the win tonight. We'll see you next week at Richmond.
You bet.
And pop goes the engine on the 98. Up next here we have, finishing in second place this evening, Mr. Trent Curtis. Hey, Trent, it's Dave. You got me?
Loud and clear, Dave. How's it going?
I'm all right, man. Listen, you know, the pit stop strategy earlier almost paid off for you here in 3. You fall short, and you're kind of like, you know, the maid of honor to the bride herself, Mike Wright. So, you know, take us through this race and how you wind up here on the podium.
Well, restart there. I don't know if you guys caught that from my onboard. I was petrified about that. I think there might have been a leaf between my nose and the rear end of that 73 car. That was really close. Battled the 26 for a little bit there. I think he deboned somebody. It was really just surviving that last restart because, like, I thought more people would flip the stages, honestly, Dave. Like, that's kind of the strategy I went in with, was like I was just going to keep flipping stages. And I was surprised nobody did for the first stage, and I was going to see if anyone in front of me did for second stage. And then when nobody did, I just said, all right, well, I'll just run the normal strategy with this number 13 leaf filter Stefan Steele Camaro, and saved my stuff, caught the 50, and got second place. So not a bad day, especially with Ethan Ball getting 6th and Mike getting 8th. So good day for Jordan Anderson Racing, Trent Curtis Racing.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. I mean, you know, you put everything that you could into this race, and, you know, I always tried to keep in my mind back when I was a racer, you know, it's easy to sit there and go, oh, we're going to flip the stage, we're going to do this, because you think that everybody else is thinking like you. But when you spend enough time in the sim and you're doing road course racing, that's what develops the discipline and the decision-making pattern that you wanted to use tonight. So I get it. You're not able to pull that win home, but before we get you out of here, who do you need to thank and shout out to tonight?
I want to thank Mike McConville for all the work he does in the setups. Obviously, part-time team owner here. Team owner, sit up in the box, and I watch my drivers race. Sometimes it's fun to hop down in the seat. Mike builds great setups every week. It's phenomenal stuff. All of Jordan Anderson's partners, Golden Corral, Bommarito Autosport, Easy Care, and that's about it. I don't think I had anything for Mike even with the strategy, to be honest with you, Dave. Like when we were racing head on, he was just a little better on the short run than I was. I thought we were about even in a long run, but just short run, he was just so much faster. But it's not one of my favorite road courses, but I'm glad to bring home a second place for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations on P2. We will see you next week at Richmond. So take a breather, get those arms relaxed, and we'll see you in about 7 days.
I probably won't be at Richmond, but I truthfully don't know where I'll be back. But you'll definitely see me at pretty much every road course.
All right, my friend, congrats, and we'll see you when we see you. And if we don't see you, we'll see you.
Absolutely. Thank you for putting on the broadcast. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. As we move him on down, last but certainly not least, on the podium tonight, Mr. Anthony Savignano, driver of the number 50. Hey, Anthony, it's Dave. You got me?
I got you, Dave. How's it going?
Man, not bad tonight. I mean, you finished on the podium, so, take us through this. I mean, you'd put a lot of work into this car to come up in third.
Yeah. I guess I got lucky through the first two stages. I don't really know. I'm guessing a lot of cars didn't try to undercut the stage as I thought they would, so I finished the stage fourth and restarted the second one fifth, which was kind of surprising. And then a couple more cars did it in stage two, so I restarted ninth after finishing fifth in stage two. And that restart going into stage three, I feel terrible. I net coded the dude in front of me, and I locked up a little bit getting into turn one, but we all got out of there clean. So I'm curious to see what Chris does with that. But all in all, it was just a very curious race on those restarts, and it was great battles up front.
Yeah, we caught a little bit of that net code, and, I realize that it's just the iRacing algorithm doing what it's supposed to do, and simulate those different little things. But sometimes I feel like netcode is more annoying than a bad itch on a summer day.
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, because I feel like I was turned left in time to get to the inside of the 73 before the corner, but iRacing decided not, and locked them up, and I was able to avoid the guys in front of me and get out of there cleanly. Unfortunately, the dude behind me, I'm looking at it right now, he slowed up a lot, and they got caught in a kind of a domino effect from the dude behind him, so the people behind me spun, and I got kind of lucky there. The top 5 or 6 snuck out before the wreck there.
Well, and sometimes road courses are about luck, especially when it may not be your strong suit, it may not be your weak suit, but here, as long as you're patient and consistent, you can wind up here on the podium. We've proven that tonight. Before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank for this run?
I'd like to thank you guys in the booth doing everything you do for to put on all these races and stream all these races, and I understand it's hard work and appreciate all that. I want to thank the guys at Bandit Racing. Proud to put a car on the podium for us, finally get some good points for the team. Yeah, we're all working hard, building setups together and week to week trying to put together solid races, so thank the guys over there at Bandit Racing and you guys in the booth.
All right, my man, thank you for the kind words. We appreciate it. We enjoy doing this for you, so congrats on the P3 finish, and we appreciate you. We'll see you next week at Richmond.
Thank you, Dave. I'm excited for Richmond. Let's go short tracking 2 weeks in a row, baby.
Yes, sir. Richmond and then Martinsville. It's definitely exciting. We've got, of course, some of the most exciting short track racing in the world in these Xfinity cars. So I can't wait to see it. I know you folks can't wait to see it. That'll be right here next Monday night. But before we get out of here, a couple of things. First, we want to take a look at the final results from the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series race here at COTA. Circuit of the Americas. Mike Wright captures the checkered flag once again here in the Xfinity Series. He's joined by Trent Curtis and Anthony Savignano on the podium. Eugenio Alonso, after qualifying on the pole, brings home 4th position, and Brandon Mendo rounds out your top 5. Ethan Ball and John Bawalda finish in 6th and 7th, while Mike McConville, Sylvain Joly, and Michael Witt round out your top 10. Tane Hodison comes home in 11th with Alex Princeton, Zachary Vaughn, Aaron Mack, Claude Furland, Chris Custer, Brad Gunn, Chris Claude, Sam Bolin, Nick Hansen are your top 20. And the best of the rest, John Wilco, Mike Pratchik, Ron Fitting, Tony Burton 24th, Rich Jett in 25th. Zach Osborne in 26th with Gangler in 27th. Daniel Moynihan, Richard Pruitt, Matt Metler are your top 30 with Dan Morgan, Randall Watkins, Corey Burkett, Bryson Alexander, Steve Eckert, Steve Herring, and Keith Black making out the rest of the field. So, a pretty exciting night here overall, if I do say so myself, and I do. And, I'm always excited on a Monday night to slide in here and hang out with you folks. So, once again, we want to thank you for making us a part of your evening here on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal, and this has been the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series at Circuit of the Americas. So, one more time, thanks for tuning in, and tomorrow and every day as you go through your day, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everyone.